Hi, my name is Klaus, and I've been DMing tabletop RPGs for 20 years. If you're watching this video, chances are you've decided to get into DMing or GMing as well. It can be a lot of fun, and you'll never, ever escape it. But I'm here to take my years of knowledge and give you 5 easy tips to help make your first time DMing go a little bit better. Better than mine. I did a bad job. Do note, most of these tips can pertain to any system out there, but the last tip is going to be pretty Dungeons & Dragons specific, so 1. Know your players and their characters. Whichever people that you're going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons with, chances are you would all like to be having fun. But if you have decided that you want to run a gritty, realistic, hardcore, everybody dying all the time game, if you decide that you want to run a super gritty, realistic campaign where everybody's dying all the time and it's super depressing, that's fine. But if your players are expecting a lighthearted frolic where they get to play multicolored tieflings and they get to do all the smooches on the bartenders, they're probably not going to have much fun in your game. And therefore, you're probably not going to have much fun. Also, it's a good idea to know what things your players are comfortable with. I'd highly recommend going over to Monty Cook Games and getting their little player consent form. This covers all sorts of, very real, deep topics such as assault and hurting animals and stuff like that they might not be okay with, even in a game. But it can also cover things as simple as phobias. If one of your players is really genuinely, truly arachnophobic and you decide to just keep throwing a bunch of spiders into your game just to frick with them, that sucks. You want your players to have fun and have a good time, so make sure you know what you're all in for. On the same note, if one of the player's characters is arachnophobic, then you should absolutely be throwing some spiders into your game. That's where knowing their character comes in. This more matters if you're making your own little homebrew campaign, but even with a pre-made adventure, the more that you can actually cater the gaming experience to their characters, the more involved and invested they're going to feel. If a character has a backstory where they got into a huge spat with their brother and they both got trained by different schools of magic and that brother doesn't show up to mess with them, that's a huge wasted opportunity because A, that's gonna be fun for you to get them with, but it's also going to be fun for them because they're like, that's for me! Knowing your players and characters is one of the greatest tools you as a DM can have. 2. Don't overplan. More for if you're making your own campaign because a pre-made adventure has a lot of stuff pre-planned for you. If you're designing a game and you figure, oh, my players are going to do this and then they'll do this and then they'll probably do this, and you plan and make maps and all this kind of stuff, players are not going to do what you think they're going to do. If there's one thing that you can guarantee from your players, it's that they will constantly surprise you and do the unexpected. They're going to go veering off into who knows what direction. You're never going to be prepared for the 3 sessions they're going to spend burning down a bar to get the insurance money when you thought that they should be going and saving the prince. Planning too much ahead is A, wasting your effort, and B, not taking into account their agency as players. Now granted, sometimes you're going to have a more set narrative path and places that you really need to get them, and sometimes you can kind of railroad them a little bit to get them there, because railroading isn't always bad. It has to be done right, and it has to be done sparingly. We'll have a MasterClass on that, okay? I swear, there's a way to do it in certain games. Just be careful. Too in-depth. You're not ready. Also, when you're preparing, don't spend so much time thinking about what your players are going to be doing, and instead focus on what your villains will be doing. Preparing, your lich is, he's busy, he's gathering the stones to Thanos things or whatever. I don't know, but focus on what they're going to be doing and just make sure that your players are as aware of that as they need to be to keep them moving along. 3, notes. That's a whole tip, notes. You're not taking them. Have one of your players take notes. It's as simple as that. Somebody, at least one person, during the session should be taking notes. They don't have to be detailed. They don't have to be transcribing every single action. Just the major story beats and things that happen. Then, at the beginning of your next session, have them go over those notes and what happened. You could even change the person who takes notes each session, or maybe one person really likes to do that. Cool for you. Maybe have everybody take notes, and at the beginning of the session, make it a quiz game, and each one of them gets to answer, and if they get it right, they get an inspiration, or some experience points, or just a little kiss on the cheek. The point is, when your players take notes, A, it helps them remember what's happening, because they're probably not thinking about the game as much as you, and if it's been a week or two since the last session, they're probably going to forget some stuff. Also, it's helpful for you as a DM, because if you're like me, you're going to forget stuff. I constantly have my players read notes back, and I go, when did that happen? I even planned it, and I didn't remember. 4, be careful of unwinnable scenarios. What do I mean by unwinnable scenarios? It's like the unskippable cutscenes where suddenly your players are surrounded by 20 guards and they're like, we're taking you to the dungeon. A fairy comes and is like, I'm going to put you all to sleep, ha 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 ha. And your plan is that they have no way of trying to succeed, they just have to go with it. First off, they won't. They don't want to go with it. Even if they're surrounded by 20 guards and you happen to know that they're like 5 levels above them or something ridiculous, they don't necessarily know that, and they're heroes. They're supposed to go up against unwinnable odds. That's what heroes do. In the player's mind, you have put this in front of them because they have a chance. To poorly paraphrase one of my favorite authors, Sir Terry Pratchett, if the odds are 1,000,001, success is all but assured. That's how stories about heroes work. They're gonna try, and in your mind you're like, oh god, they attacked him, well I guess they're gonna kill him, everybody's dead, end of game. Don't. So, we should never have unwinnable scenarios like this in games? You can. But you have to do it right, and you have to do it sparingly. First off, doing it right. If your players are in one of these scenarios, say surrounded by the 20 guards, you should convey to them information that their characters might know that might not be apparent to the players from their not being an actual fantasy hero perspective. You might say something like, you can tell that you have no chance against this many guards, or you can see by their hardened steel these are truly trained warriors beyond your skills. Or you can just kind of break the fourth wall a bit and go, you have no chance against all of these people. Because maybe, as a DM, you didn't do a great job of this. I sure don't all the time. I screw up constantly. Why am I doing this if I'm so bad? You're learning from my mistakes. Second, if you're going to do them, it should be sparing. Having the main villain show up and be completely unbeatable once is kind of cool. It gets them angry at this villain and it gives them a goal to attain. You want to give them the chance to take this villain out. But if that villain shows up every gosh dang session and constantly trounces them, they're not going to be like, ooh, I can't wait to get him. They're just going to get beaten down. That stuff sucks. Nobody wants to lose constantly. Best I can say, unless it is a really important story beat, or you cannot think of any other possible way to get them where they need to go, avoid unwinnable scenarios like that. They don't feel good most of the time. 5. Don't believe challenge rating. Challenge rating sure seems like a pretty neat little tool. You do a little formula, you take your care how many players there are and their average level and the experience of the monsters and do some math, and boom, you know if it's a hard or deadly encounter. And that all sounds great on paper, but as any seasoned DM will tell you, what's even more important is what's called the action economy. Basically, the idea is if one side has significantly more actions than the other side, it doesn't matter nearly so much about the disparity in challenge. If you've got 7 players going up against one single creature whose CR says that, ooh, this should be a deadly challenge, let me tell you, that is going to be a cakewalk for your players. Once per turn, or maybe if it's got legendary actions a couple times a turn, that singular creature gets to attack. Meanwhile, you've got 7 other people doing all sorts of stuff. Maybe you got a monk who comes in and just goes, stunning strike. Guess what? Now your creature is out for a whole round, and they get a whole nother 7 actions against that creature. So how do you avoid this? Just try and balance how many actions there are. If you really want your heroes to be going up against one singular creature, like say a dragon or something, make sure it's got legendary actions. Make sure you maybe tweak the HP a little bit if you need to, or just give it more special abilities beyond what the book has. But also, don't just think that because, oh, well, there's just the one creature, so I should take the challenge rating significantly higher past where it says it's deadly. That's not always a good idea. If you do that, suddenly, on your creature's one turn, it takes out half the party in a single hit because it's too powerful. So the tip here is, it's hard. You have to find that sweet spot between challenge rating and action economy, and until you've DM'd for a while, feel free to fudge things behind your DM screen that they're not seeing in the middle of combat to make up for you accidentally making the combat way too easy or way too hard. And that's it. Those are my 5 beginner tips for new DMs/GMs. Let me know what you think in the comment. And hey, if you're a seasoned DM, leave some more tips in the comments to help these folks out. They want to get into a cool hobby and they want to do debatably the hardest part of D&D, which is running the games. That's admirable. Let's give them a hand. Anyway, folks, let me know what you think of this more freeform, unscripted live video. Do you like seeing me? Do you like this deep V-neck shirt that I very recently bought and am questioning wearing on camera? Working on plenty of other videos. I've got a tutorial for Foundry that I will be releasing hopefully fairly soon, and another much bigger project that I don't know when it will be done, but it's gonna be pretty cool, so make sure you subscribe. It's down there, I think. Yeah. Also, yeah, if you want, follow my Twitch channel. I play a lot of video games, and I'm hoping to stream some live kind of improv D&D stuff on there fairly soon. If you can, what matters most is share this on Reddit or Facebook or wherever. I got a Facebook page. Go check that out, I guess. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. Let me know if you want to see what kind of stuff you want to see in the comments below. I'm very active in replying to you folks and checking that stuff out. I read every comment I get. I want to know what people want to see about. There are plenty of other D&D YouTubers, and I want to offer some fairly unique takes and perspectives and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, please talk to me, because I'll talk to you. And I got a Twitter, and I say a bunch of dumb stuff on there, so go check that out, too. I don't know. Bye.